The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussion.
Snowed in, Kev. Snowed in Jersey.
What's your weather like there today?
It was about, I left the house at about 7 this morning. It was 19. We got a snow event Monday night into Tuesday. It wasn't a lot of snow accumulation, but the problem is, being from Detroit, you know this. When it gets to be fucking 19, you're not melting or shoveling shit.
Nope.
It's all turning to ice. You can salt everything all you want, and it will melt, but then an hour later, you're right back to a sheet of ice. So unless you're the roads that are so frequently traveled, where they keep it just kind of keep it from freezing over because it's just slush and wet, any other side road that doesn't take constant traffic is constantly icing over. Your property's icing over. Everything's just fucking ice.
See, when I lived up north, like living down south, like I could drive an S-Class down here because worst case scenario, you get bugs on it, you go wash it. To have those stalactites hanging off all four wheels,
yeah,
like you get up north, man, I just like. Give me the Mercury Topaz. I'm cool.
Well, you had trucks, right? Your family in Detroit. I mean,
no, we were a Ford family.
Yeah,
but we always had. We had for years. We drove. There was a thing called a Ford. I mean, it was a 4-door sedan called a Ford, and then the upgraded Ford was the LTD. So
just a big 4-door sedan.
4-door sedan, that's what we had. And then we had the LTD Country Squire, which was the family truckster with the fake wood on the side.
Yes.
We had one of them others. Yeah, we had that.
But now, how would you get like obviously Detroit's further north than me. And realistically, there's the odd Thanksgiving where there's some snow, but there's no accumulation here.
We get
so
it.
I was going to say.
We used to have, I would say growing up, one out of 3 Halloweens was miserably snowbound.
End of October.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, here you really only run the risk December through. You could get some March snow, but it's unlikely. So.
It's weird how that, because
3 months.
the polar cap has gotten smaller,
mm-hmm.
and that's why we now have a vortex. A lot of people don't understand this. They think, "Oh, there's no climate change." It's like, no. It used to be that the ice would keep all that cold up there. Now that it's raised, now that all that cold weather comes down and visits us, but it's so cold. Like, we used to always get at least once or twice every winter, like that incredible lake effect. It would hit, it would hit Detroit, Buffalo, Cleveland, Erie, that whole Lake Erie area would just get bombed. I remember being woken and shoveling like your dad's car out, and then going back to bed for like an hour, and then but for us, they used to plow the roads, even the side roads, and you could just where we would, put our boots on, and if it was, I mean, there's so many times I walked to school with snow up to my knees. It wasn't
Yeah.
even, and then you sit there, first hour of school, and your pants would thaw, and you get rash legs, and it's like, ugh.
Those classrooms back then with those the radiators,
Yeah,
like an inferno on the other side of the room.
yeah, it could only be 200 or zero.
Or zero, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you get, like you said, your dad's car, right? So like you can clean anything you want the night before.
Nothing.
8 hours of the monstrosity outside. You're chipping and shoveling and
do you remember, like, I remember growing up, like, you had this, you had the, like, this bullshit that people have nowadays with the little brush and, like, the squeegee and the little scraper.
the plastic.
Yeah, like
one?
that.
Yeah.
Like, back when I was a kid, man, it looked like a medieval, like, something you go to battle in Braveheart with, and you had to have the spray that had the alcohol in it to get your locks undone so you could put the keys in.
Yeah.
A huge thing that I saw up north was that a lot of the Teslas they weren't holding charges, and they were taking like 6 hours to charge out at in the
it's
elements.
interesting what the battery functions do
Yeah.
in sub-zero temperatures.
And it was so funny because it was this huge article on one of the local news things, and they were basically saying that this is one of the, like, they got snow flurries in the Panhandle, and but there was a lot of different people that made this claim where the electric vehicles were enabled to hold a charge. And then I saw this thing on Instagram, and it was the space station, and it's like minus 492 degrees, and they've got these giant solar panels that that power this thing, and it's been up there for 28 years, and it's like, obviously, and I'm thinking, yeah, but you're a lot closer to the sun too, like,
right.
I'm sure if you had a Tesla with a a retractable thing that was, dodging satellites, I'm sure you'd get a much better charge than you would down on planet Earth. But
well, hopefully this is probably about halfway through winter right now, right? I'd say so. Hopefully we're paying the price now.
Speaking about halfway through, how about that Iowa caucus?
Well done. I guess
Thanks.
you watched. I guess you watched a little news today.
No, I actually. What was I watching? I was watching the football game, and it was halftime. Remember? No, I was watching. Maybe I was watching the Tennessee basketball game. No,
Yeah, it had to been basketball.
Tennessee played. Tennessee played yesterday. So
yeah. Well, so I mean, everyone's talking about DeSantis coming in second, but did you see the margin?
Did you see how many people? Did you see how many people actually got
100,000? 100,000.
100 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, that many people showed up at Arrowhead.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
The 2020 caucus was 188 or something like that. So it was almost half. I mean, they had terrible weather.
I thought the telling thing to me was that of the people that showed up that they polled, 66% of the Iowan caucus goers were absolutely convinced that Trump was our president. That he had.
Well, then they should also know that he's precluded from running again.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I don't understand. How you could say that in the same. It's just like, I absolutely understand that you can only run for president twice, but our guy he won, and that's why I'm here to make sure that he wins again.
Right.
What?
This is the Borg Genesis crowd we're talking.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. Like, if you're, like, he could run as Trump, like he could say, the election denier is Donald Trump, but we're going to run this time as Borg Genesis Trump. Then it's a completely, because
He's
you're-
allowed to run then because it's really
Yeah.
not the same person.
no, because you're completely modified.
Right.
And I think he's Pfizer, so he would be Borg Genesis Pfizer Trump,
Right.
which is a much cooler looking hat. Better T-shirts like that in your front. I'd put that bitch in my front yard. I'd put that sign in my front yard. Vote for Borg Genesis.
Make vaccinations
Pfizer,
great
Trump.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but don't you think that it's a little too early to, when you talk about the spread? It was it 21? DeSantis 21, Haley 19 and change. So it was less than a
Right.
2-point margin between them. No one was close to Trump, but
Well, now they're going to New Hampshire where Haley's like 7-8 points
I
off.
saw that.
But the thing about New Hampshire is, and he's already on it, is she was actually a little bit closer, but like 10 days ago, Trump started to see that she was making some ground,
Mm-hmm.
and he put a little money into it, and a little bit. His group said, "Well, yeah, because the Democrats and the liberals and the unattached, and everybody else will vote for Haley." And it's really not, going to show what the Republican. But then DeSantis is like at 6, right?
Let's see here. So this is Iowa results, and DeSantis was 21.25,
Yeah.
and Haley 19.
That's not bad for $159 million to come in there.
Yeah, what did he? DeSantis dumped what? 30? What did we? Let me get the number here. So, I'm saying DeSantis. This is, of course, all of his all that super PAC money and all.
Yeah,
that.
but
35 million.
But he's in about a buck 30.
Oh, in total, yeah.
Yeah.
Ramaswamy realized he was just giving himself a good time, and
Well, the Vanguard BlackRock people said, "Dude, you said you could do something here. You know how this guy became a billionaire? He brought 3 drugs to trial. They all passed, and he never patented or produced any of them. That's his claim to fame. That's who I want. If I want a president, what I want is somebody that has basically done nothing,
right,
accomplished nothing in life.
Well, the thing that's weird is I wouldn't pull a lever for DeSantis, but DeSantis has a record of public service, being in politics.
Right.
And what's kind of become the new sexy trend is, well, we're done with Washington, man. We want someone who's never run anything successfully, which that logic escapes me completely. The notion that if you're in business in some way.
But if it was still the standards of 1966, we actually had to have a government course to get out of high school. That's one thing. But nowadays, it's just like
not now.
Yeah, these people don't even know what the fuck's.
But even on the Democrats were flirting with that path too with Andrew Yang.
Remember, Yang was had some equation thing that he was, but that was the same as Bernie Sanders, man. And people like anybody that wants to pay off the college loan shit, really. So I go to Harvard, and I live in Milwaukee. See, my whole thing is this. The first 2 years you go to school, that's all core courses. You can stay at, Sunshine Garden Community College and take your English 101, comp. I mean, yeah, all that.
Yeah, if you're just chasing the paper, but if you get into a good program and you want to learn under the masters,
are you going to learn anything of those? Now, it's not to your third year is when you start to take your core courses.
Well, it depends. Yeah, I mean, it depends what if you're in like a BFA program, like
Right.
my daughter was looking for Bachelor of Fine Arts. That's like 95 credits in your major and only like 20 in core. So you're loaded with your whatever you're studying, dance or theater or whatever.
That was the same as when I went to Tennessee. I wanted to be an art major, and it was just like, you immediately, it's there's no, your electives are, you've got very few electives. Right. Whereas, but I'm just saying, like a normal kid, like some kid that goes, you know what, man, I'm going to go to Tuscaloosa, man, because I like Bama's football team. Dude, you live in Florida. Just go to Florida. No, and I'm going to take a loan out. All right, so instead of paying $18,000, you pay $90,000. Good for you. And now you want me to pick up that? No.
No, and I don't think that's the answer either, the bailout stuff. But, the way to go would be, and it gets a little hairy because of private institutions and whatnot, but you can definitely pass legislation that governs what you're charging, what a university's charging for your per credit versus what they're spending per credit. So
almost kind of like that.
It can bring costs down.
It's almost like medicine.
It's exactly like medicine, as a matter of fact.
Boy, they've done such a good job dropping that shit down.
Well, but hold on. But one of the things that Obamacare did that people don't talk about is, and it was the thing that was most attractive to me in the plan, was it put a cap on what the SG&A expenses could be, the administrative expenses in a business, which it could be desks, it could be property, it could be anything, to 15%. So 85% of what any of the insurance companies were charging you as a premium, 85% had to be going to patient care. They were only allowed, I believe 15% was the number, for any administrative, any property, any of the shit that goes into the insurance company's buildings or salaries or bonuses. 85% had to go to patients.
I did something crazy, and it's something to look into, is you can basically kind of do this twofold, so you can get your education. This is all done correspondence. So you get your education correspondence, and then you do a bunch of other things online, and you just have to go take the test at a hospital. And I became a gynecologist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did 4 years of correspondence. Then I went ahead and I just had to just.
Did your final in the hospital and?
Yeah, I just had. I mean, it was just basically go in and do a Pap smear, and boom.
And on the whole, you were covered.
Yeah, I'm done. $1,600.
The provision is the medical loss ratio, is what it's called, requirement, which
none of that even. I was able to jump that hurdle.
The
the medical loss ratio.
Right. 85% of premium dollars spent on medical care. So there you go. So yeah, but if they looked at universities through a similar lens and said that exorbitant spending would have to be capped, then that would naturally bring down the cost of tuition. So I don't believe in the government. I don't believe in my paying for someone else's education, but it could certainly bring costs down.
Then we could look into things like a $1.4 trillion budget and $900 billion of that being defense spending.
Right. You put more over to defense. Yeah.
Yeah, because
you mentioned your gynecological degree.
Right.
Are there and I'm not ribbing here, are there innies and outies with the vaginal part?
There is the well-known hooded clitoris.
Right.
With it's...
But I didn't stick around long enough for the conversation. My daughter, this is what, you had a son, okay? So you guys talked basketball, you talked Call of Duty.
We talked a lot about some puss.
Not in this context. My oldest daughter runs down. She's back from college. She's like, do you know there's innies and outies for vaginas? I'm like, what are you talking about? She says some videos. She's showing my wife. I said, I don't want to see. Now my little one's run upstairs checking to see what she's got. So I said, I'll be in here making a roast beef sandwich. But
yeah, some people look like they've got a scalpel cut, and other ones look like they've had a IED go off between their legs.
Yeah, but of course it's the formation of the body, so there's differences. But innie and outie to me meant like a prolapsed. Yeah.
It just
Look, everyone's Googling right now, probably furiously at home listening.
Lip Nation.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
Tax season is here, which means you've received or are expecting that tax refund any day now, and you're thinking about what to spend it on. How about a new home? With SaveWithConrad.com, we're helping renters become homeowners every single day, and it's more affordable than you think. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need a huge down payment. In fact, you may not need a down payment at all. At SaveWithConrad.com, we take the stress out of the home buying process. We'll determine your buying power. We'll even help you find a realtor. And unlike the banks, we don't say no. We say not yet, but here's how. So if you're not ready right now, we'll get you on a plan to be ready. Stop throwing your money away, paying someone else's mortgage with your rent, and start the path towards owning your own home today at SaveWithConrad.com.
It's January, Kevin. You know what this means. Of course, the NFL playoffs are here, and we're going to cover that. But it means the Emmys. I figured I'd start with some award show talk. Did I tell you my problem with award shows?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So your Lions, I gotta say, I think they'll coast to San Francisco. I think our divisional final.
I'm worried about Tampa.
No, I don't know. I mean, they look good, but they looked good against a Philly team that quit 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, but at the same time, they were able to get pressure on the passer. And that's when Goff has problems, is when he's under pressure. If they need to do the exact same thing they did with the Rams, establish a run, go to play action, get a couple of scores, then have the defense knuckle down. Because the last time we played Tampa Bay, we beat them, I think, 20-6, and then which was the least amount of points that Tampa Bay scored. And then, I mean, Tampa Bay coming into the playoffs beat Charlotte 9-0.
You love that Charlotte, Kimmy. Carolina.
I love
Carolina
Charlotte.
Panthers.
I love the Charlotte gimmick. I have to think before I say Carolina. I hate when they try to. It's like the Tennessee Titans. They're not the Tennessee Titans. They're Nashville.
The Nashville Titans.
They're the Nashville Titans.
Well, I'm gonna put the Lions in San Francisco in the NFC Championship. I think that.
That Lovey, the old Lovey's a Green Bay team. But I tell you what, I sat there and watched that, and I went, they look good.
Yeah, they look good, and I told you what was going to happen. If Dallas doesn't get out to the lead, it's over. They cannot play from behind. And Dak, while he's a good quarterback, is not a great quarterback. His numbers at the end of the day was 470 yards or whatever, but they were chasing 30 points for all of that, playing a team that was giving them 15 yards off the ball.
Yeah, that was not that final score was like, the Green Bay was in the locker room, showered with their suits on halfway through the press conference, and they were
Dallas put.
We got another one. Let's go for 2.
But they had 4 third downs with no defense out there, which was
Unbelievable,
troubling.
yeah.
And then what do you think on the AFC side? The AFC is a little more interesting to me. I would have said Buffalo.
I would say Buffalo, except this is what I love. So I put an Instagram thing up, just the score. I think I said fuck yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And some guy said, "Hey man, I'm from Buffalo. I know where you're coming from." I said, "How could you possibly know where I'm coming from?" I said, "There's a little difference between losing 4 straight fucking Super Bowls and never even being in a Super Bowl." It's just like, come on, man. Yeah, I get it. The heartache of losing 4 straight Super Bowls is miserable, but at least it's just like you were there.
Mm-hmm.
You had 4 straight years of Super Bowl parties with your team, and you're thinking, what? If I woke up in the Lions, I think I would just lay in bed in the fetal position, because I know that as soon as that's over, it's going to be that look in the sky, Leonardo. Oh, by the way, did you hear about the asteroid? What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the asteroid's supposed to hit here right about game time. Oh, well, that makes sense. So,
what do you think? All right, so it's Buffalo and Kansas City first. What's happening there?
And they're at
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it snows in Green Bay and the stadium gets completely buried, and it's like they have a system that the entire town comes down, and it's just like the old putting out a fire gimmick back in the day with the buckets. I mean, it's like Green Bay would have started clearing the field at like 2:30. Game day. So that's one thing. When your own team, and then when the mayor, the governor of New York says you can't be on the roads, you can't be on the roads. I'm thinking, oh, that's nice for the guys that need to get treatment and everything else at the facility. Now they're out getting pulled over because what are you doing out? I've got a playoff game tomorrow. I've got to get some treatment. You can't get that done at your house? No, not so much. Pretty much have to go to the training center. So I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that I'm sure that Allen is so turnover prone, but I got a feeling. I just think that the Chiefs just don't have it this year. They're just not the same team.
No, agreed. But the thing that the mighty equalizer in some of these games is weather. And I know by me, I'm supposed to have the snow event Friday night into Saturday. Now, I don't know if that's going to extend as far north as Buffalo, because if I'm getting 3 inches here, they're getting 12 up there. So I don't know if it's going to be another shitty, we're one stupid fumble in the fourth quarter.
I don't think they'll take 12. They might get it, but they won't be able to take it all.
Oh, yeah, it's tough taking 12 inches.
I'd rather take just the 3. Just
right.
call it a day.
I prefer to take none, but I don't think that's an option when you live in Baltimore.
No,
I think Buffalo rather.
Yeah, and then that's the second. The second game is we got the Ravens.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one?
My thoughts on Baltimore are my losses every time I bet on them trying to cover this year.
Ugh.
So as good as they've looked at certain times, they just couldn't seem to cover the goddamn 5 points or 4 points that I needed. So I don't know. It's a good team. They could do it. But I see
I just don't.
a Buffalo, San Francisco.
If you can make Baltimore have to throw the ball 15 times, you can beat them. I think. The key, maybe push it and say 18.
You got to be higher, yeah.
Maybe if they've got to throw the ball 18 times, you can beat them.
Frisco and Buffalo. What was that? They met, right? They were one of the 1990s Super Bowls, wasn't it? Dallas had Buffalo 2 years, 2 of those 4 years. 92 and 93. And then San Francisco. No, the Giants were one of them also. Giants, Buffalo. Maybe it wasn't Frisco. Anyway. So that's what I think our Super
Frisco,
Bowl will
I
be.
mean, it's like Frisco's another one of those teams though that just, they had their run where it just seemed like they were in every Super Bowl for, So
The Montana and then Steve Young.
Steve Young.
The
I
backup
think that
takes some reins.
I think Frisco. I think the quarterback can you get a couple of good shots on him. He's kind of small for an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, you do need some size. You got to be able to take
Even though he is kind of purdy.
Got a purdy mouth.
We got a pretty mouth, boy.
You lay any money on playoff games, or is it too unpredictable, too high charged?
Well, I actually laid some money on the Lions, and I got it. I got right as soon as the game was over. I said, "All right, let me see who they got." And I said, "Does it really matter?" And then as soon as Tampa Bay beat them, it was 6, and then last time I checked, it was 6.5. So it's already went up.
Oh, for this week.
Yeah. So it's Lions plus 6.5. I got Lions plus 6.
Yeah, as long as you keep it under a touch.
People that are friends of mine that went to the game said that it was so deafening in Ford Field.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's always had a feeling of an arena. Like
you said they're getting 6.5. This is just
Detroit's giving.
Oh, giving. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
And Tampa's taking it all, balls off the fucking that. But now they're taking 6.5. So,
what's up? Not 12.
No, not true.
Sure.
And Mayfield's got that bad rib. He can't take 12.
You know when you really take 12? When you've been paying for subscriptions, Kevin, that you don't know even are on your credit card bill every month unless you fastidiously search that thing. And there's an app out there that everybody can use, and it's Rocket Money. I hope everybody has this on their phones. Rocketmoney.com/Nash is the place to go. Anyone who doesn't know this, let's explain it. Let's lay it out there. In your household, you have a zillion recurring subscriptions. You got everything. You got your TV services. You got your streamers. You got your shopping services. So many things. You might have a gym membership. So many things are charging your card. Food services that you may, and you know what? You may forget some of them because we have so much. Rocket Money is here to remind you and help you manage your money beyond just those recurring charges. I had a Broadway.com thing I found on there. And I remember saying to my daughter, yeah, just order it. Then we can cancel it. Do we ever do that? No. We always say that, I want to watch this series. I'll watch the series and I'll cancel it. And we never do it. You forget. You're paying twice. Maybe 2 people in the house sign up for something. Kev, you were saying
Yep.
that happened to you. Rocket Money. It's a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills literally with the tap of a finger. It will list what you're paying for, and if you want to get rid of it, bang, hit the button. They do it for you. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place. And you know what? If I see something I don't want, I cancel it with the tap, okay? I never have to get on the phone with customer service and sit there and explain to somebody in Singapore that I don't want this service anymore. And they have over 5 million users, and they've helped save their members an average of $720 a year, with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions already. Guys, stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Nash. That's rocketmoney.com/Nash. Thank you, Rocket Money. It's a service that is definitely needed.
Did you see the numbers that Peacock did on that buy game?
I was a little annoyed by the fact that it's restricted just to streaming. It makes it tougher to get. But no, what were the numbers?
Okay. I think
Steve, bring it up. What did they do?
Dom says 20. I knew it was close to 30 million.
Yeah.
Like nothing has touched that. Now, am I the only one that watched the stream and thought that the stream was off? Like optically, it felt a little bit like a acid trip. Like there were some times where it just wasn't as clear as like the next game I watched was just on Fox, and it was.
I was in the broadcast that I saw. They had it on in the restaurant in the lounge where I was eating, and it looked okay.
See,
I didn't see the whole game though.
Dom's saying he had some lag. I had some lag on mine.
Okay.
Here's another interesting one. I want to think 36.5 million households watched the Lions game, which is the most since the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So are the citizens of Detroit in danger? This is a city that's going to burn the goddamn city down, right? If they get
If they didn't burn it down, this is the thing that kills me. I really think that when I watch a game that I am like completely, like you can give me a clipboard and I got it. I'm in, and I'm watching the game, but I'm so emotionally invested that my brain is like a minute ahead. So I don't remember fucking Los Angeles taking their third timeout. Okay? So we get the ball back on the no pass interference call on the fucking Samoan fucking android, who I found out later on was Borg Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I couldn't fucking tackle that kid. And we threw it to our boy, number 14. He picks up the first down, and I'm thinking like, oh fuck. And all of a sudden we go up, we take a knee. I said, what the fuck are you doing?
You thought that they had a timeout.
I thought they had a timeout. I'm thinking like, we're gonna give the ball back with like, and then I look down and I count across. I'm like, there's nothing there, and I'm like, and then they do it again. And you look at it and you do the math, you're like, oh, this fucker's over. Yeah. And I'm like, but it was so anticlimactic because I was in a complete submarine, fucking depth charge, fucking drill for 30 seconds there. I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah, couldn't celebrate with them.
No, I just by the time I gathered, it was over with. And, it was just like, ugh.
That would have been the most horrendous call in the history of playoff football. Just if they took a knee, they could stop the clock.
Just drop and take a knee. Let's throw the ball 3 times.
Well, Mike M was watching or listening or both last week, and he said Kevin said that AEW having a new car smell was absolutely spot on. I've been saying that for years. Once the smell is gone, it's just another car, or in this case, another wrestling promotion. Also, Sean, your Russo impersonation was great. Absolutely was.
See, it's the change in the fucking drink holders that knocks that smell out, too. You gotta watch
the smell of it's silver and copper that absorbs. I believe the quote, Kevin, and I never forgot it, was, And you send somebody to pick me up in your wife's Hyundai with change on the seat?
Fuck, man. Might as well have her drawers, you know?
They're hanging maybe,
yeah,
airing out over the
tied,
rearview mirror.
somehow tied to that hand thing over the glove box that you hold on to. Have you ever seen like video clips of, you know how people will drive and like the person that's in the passenger side will put their feet up on the dash of the car,
Yes.
and they get a
Marks.
fender bender, and that airbag goes off, and their knees end up over the back of the. I mean, it just
gives them a little extra flexibility.
Every time I've seen people, and they put the bigger guys, sometimes they'll cross their legs. I'll be like, dude, you gotta put your feet flat, please. Oh, I'm not. It's not comfortable. I'm like, you know what? I guarantee you, it may not be comfortable, but it will be if we do get, especially like up in New York, man. It's just like bumper to bumper in New York. That whole 95. I remember one time we were leaving. We did a signing at the old ECW arena, and Scott and I had a gig we were doing with maybe Hog or one of those, but it was in the Bronx. And I remember when we first did the GPS, it said, I don't know, 2 hours and 11 minutes. It's like a 4-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just unbelievable. Just
it's one of the most frustrating things about being up here is that you can see your destination if you stood on a house tall enough, but it's going to take you 2 hours to get over there.
Well, that's when we did Mania there, and they took that Marriott that was across the bridge in Brooklyn. That was like the home court, because they had to go out to the field there. And
when they were at the Meadowland or MetLife,
yeah, and but the WrestleCon was in, I think, the Hilton or I think it was a Sheraton. That was, and I'm not kidding you, it was like either 7 or 9 miles from the front door of the Marriott to the Sheraton, and it was an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, easy.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Just,
you cross over into New York, even the boroughs, Brooklyn or Queens or anything, you're definitely rolling.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, how is it, like, when was this Brooklyn Bridge built? And I don't think when it was built, it was supposed to hold this many trucks and cars for this long.
Mm.
You know, I'm just thinking, like,
in your East River crossings, you've got, and not to go into the geography lesson here, but you've got the Brooklyn Bridge, you got the Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge. You have a lot of opportunities to cross, and every one of them is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, K-Dog 23 said, this is the first time I was genuinely impressed with Florida Man Jersey Guy. I was stumped. Well done, Mr. Nash. I think it was a ladies edition last week.
No, we had the nuns, and I said that Catholicism makes it, and of course, the woman that wanted to sue him for having the pumpkins.
We'll see how you do this week. Russ Brewer, I just want to say thank you guys for making me smile at least once a week, both of you. Around this time last year when my mom had a stroke, the trolls kind of got on me. You ripped into them. She unfortunately passed in April after a series of more strokes, but this show has helped me get through. I hope you both have a better new year, and please keep it up for life. All right, Russ, sorry to hear about Mom.
Yeah, sorry about your mother.
Glad you were with us and we could do a little something for you. Don't let the trolls get you. Darren Sparks, I don't care about the awards, but I will say I have the utmost respect for great art. Season 1 of True Detective is still the best season of TV I've ever seen, and hopefully the new one will come close. The new one is what, Jodie Foster?
Jodie Foster, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. My wife actually is going to watch that with me.
Is that up yet?
No, I think it's maybe it's coming up.
Oh, this is HBO, right? So they do the
Yeah.
one. They don't dump the whole thing. It's Wesley was saying one episode is up from Sunday, so they
But
do
sometimes
one at a
they
time.
don't let you. They won't let you go too. They won't let you stream it. They won't let you power binge it.
Right, you have to wait every week,
Yeah.
like it used to be. But we all forgot
Yeah.
that we had to wait till next week to see if Ross loves Rachel or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, it used to be if you didn't DVR it, then you didn't. Before that, if you didn't put a VHS in and set the timer,
Right.
you didn't. And then it went
there's
to
a power
DVR.
outage in your phone.
Yeah, then it went to DVR. Now at least you've got. So I finished last night was the final Fargo. So I watched the last episode of Fargo last night. So Wesley, get on that.
Chaotic, maybe? Well, the people who spit mist have grown immune to the poison. If you watched the new great Sequoia vids they had before her debut, Muta was bottle feeding her poison mist after he found her on the mountain. So there's our answer. The slow immunity built up to the poison mist for the spitter of said mist. I pronounced Sequoia right?
Just the fact that it was on a secluded mountain tells me it's probably bullshit.
That's what tipped you off, right?
Yeah, that just doesn't. That just sounds a little hokey.
I was with him the whole time, but those secluded mountains of Japan.
Yeah, it's
horseshit.
Yeah.
Your favorite shirt brother says, "Hey fellas, it's the 3-minute orgasm BlueChew guy. Just call me Louie in St. Louis." All right. Fun fact: wife's been ill, and I had to pause my BlueChew subscription. Well, that's
God, I thought for sure you were going to say, but boy, her sister.
I destroyed my wife's functionality completely, so I'm moving on. No, I guess his wife's seriously ill if he had to pause the goddamn monthly subscription. Well, I hope she feels better. He said, "Did you know how easy it is to do that? One click of a button. BlueChew is the greatest service." Well, this household, for Louis from St. Louis' household, is on fire and big-time fans. We feel you. We feel you, brother.
By the way, there's the different medicines have like a 3-year life on them. So if you just so happen,
good stockpile, right?
Yeah, always stockpile. You never know when the zombie apocalypse, man. Last thing you want to do is right before they kick the door in, not be able to get it up just because of nerves or something. Just
right. You imagine if you're Borg Genesis.
Oh,
Borg Genesis BlueChew.
Borg Genesis BlueChew Cialis. But that's what is that? What is the generic is? What it starts with a T. What is it? Cialis is generic name.
Yeah, I don't know the drug contained within, but those are the active ingredients in BlueChew. So, yeah, I mean, if you're inoculated and you're on the BlueChew, you'd be a monster, man. You're tearing it up. Maybe that's what Louie in St. Louis got going on. Kliq This TV, our live audience is here. Didn't get to say hello to everybody before the show today. So hello to our live audience who's here with us. If you'd like to be part of that, go to kliqthistv.com. Become part of our clique. There's some cool new Kliq This TV merch. I personally like the Kliq This TV logo shirt, just plain logo. I saw that our friends at Box of Gimmicks are doing a nice ladies line of form-fitting sweaters and shirts for the Kliq This TV line. So go check that out. What's the next? I agree, Dan. Worth it. Get to be here with us live, converse with us, ask questions, and the exclusive programming that we promised you. I know the timeline went up. What's next, Steve? What are we going to give our folks next? coming up. February, another KC show, maybe. Maybe we'll do the WCW timeline next. Kev did the WWE timeline of 1995 first. Big year for Kev with the title. And then we did the WCW year, too, which was another great show. Best sellers for kayfabe commentaries. And listen, you laid some money down on the Lions. 6.5, huh? I'm thinking about that. I'm going to get my DraftKings mojo going, everybody. Everybody, of course, knows DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers bet just $5 on any game. Get $200 instantly in bonus bets. 6.5 Lions. Oh, God, Kev, I don't know. I'm confident they're going to win, but by a touch.
Yeah, I just don't see. If they're going to win, they're going to win big.
Okay. All right, I got to think about it. I got to meditate on that. Well, what's the line, Steve? Bring up the line here. Let's see what I could do this week on DraftKings while I tell everybody to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now by using the promo code TKNP. That's the Kevin Nash Podcast. All right. And don't forget, new customers bet just $5. Get $200 instantly in bonus bets. I love I was DraftKings in my ass off this year. I had action all day. I had 5 and 6 games a week. They make it so easy. The app is so easy. The interface is so great. And it's also a wealth of information. It's not just the betting lines, and you can click in and see. You can take any kind of action on that. From I know on the Super Bowl, I do all that stupid shit, coin tosses and whatnot. Anytime touchdown scores. Anyway, go to DraftKings. I still have to think about my bet. Don't forget, guys.
I didn't see the point spread.
Yeah, what's the spread on? Give me the spread on. Let's see on. Well, give me this. Let me see on Buffalo. Yeah, 6.5.
Yes.
Let me see the spread on Buffalo. What are we doing here, Buffalo? There they are on the bottom. On the bottom. Down.
What's the Houston?
It's 3. Kansas City getting 3 from Buffalo. I'd be comfortable with a Buffalo bet at 3 points. Would you want to see the Texans?
Yeah.
Let me look at it here. Three? No, what is it? 9.5. Jesus Christ.
Oh. Man, I got some. Houston's got some athletes to be given 9.5.
I know.
After you sat out a week.
Guys, go to DraftKings Sportsbook, okay? Put that app on your phone and have some fun.
And the thing
us.
is, man, that even if it's just $10, man, having a little juice on the game,
a little skin in the game makes it so much. You'll get so invested, you'll forget how many timeouts the other team has and be screaming at your television when your quarterback takes a knee.
When he takes a knee, you'll be, what the? This is rigged.
Guys, don't forget our promo code TKNP, the Kevin Nash Podcast. The crown is yours. If you do have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for your gambling problem. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Thank you, DraftKings. I've had so much fun with you guys this football season, and it's not over. The playoffs are here.
I think that I'm going to go with Dom on that Houston game, and then I think I'm going to go with Steve with I'll take the Packers in 9.5.
Packer 9.5 too.
Yeah.
Ooh, so many points.
The Packers score. They can run the ball. See, this is one of the this is where Vegas makes all their money back.
Exactly, it's true. No matter what happened all year long.
Yeah.
You know, the Roger Stone assassination tape is getting interesting, where he apparently, according to news sources that I'm reading, is calling for the assassination of Nadler and two Democrats. And you know, now with all this AI, I think he's going to go with the AI defense, because his voice can be put on anything now. And you hear Gorilla Monsoon and Hulk Hogan voice AI shows on YouTube.
I thought he was going on the Penguin from Batman defense.
Well, it's got the look a little bit there, but the FBI is investigating. Kev, I hope you never have the FBI investigating you. That's always that's never a good thing.
I was working a little illegal deal down in Atlanta, and let me put it this way: as I came to my senses after the flashbang grenade, and in front of me was a large black man with a blue windbreaker with an FBI stencil on it and a shotgun pointed to my head.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell me you woke up with Ahmed Johnson in your room. So what's this? All right, so this is Atlanta. So this is first WCW run or before?
Oh no, this is what brought me. This is what brought me into Atlanta. This is how I went from this arrest to working the Cheetah.
Okay, that's right, the Cheetah Club, the
I worked the
gentleman's
Cheetah.
establishment.
Yeah. It was really, there was this place called the American Muscle Factory, I think. It was on Johnson Ferry Road, and there was a couple of guys in there that bigger guys, but they were all business guys. Like they worked, and like the first time there was this guy that killed Eastern Airlines flight attendant. His name was Kevin Nash, and so I'm doing upright rows. I'm in the gym. I've been in town maybe a month, and they come in, cuff me, take me out, and they take me down, and I've got to do the lineup, the whole bit, and they put me in the lineup because the guy at the front desk checked the guy in, and they said, and they actually did the thing like they do on TV. You don't see anybody up there, like number 4. And,
Wait, you're taken in because you're mistaken?
I'm Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
Somebody called, and they called from that fucking, from the gym. Because they were looking, like the thing was on TV that the person used Kevin Nash, and they were just, and I was kind of like just a loner that was, I didn't hang out with anybody. I just started showing up at the gym, and I was a 300-pound guy, and I guess he strangled her, killed her.
The real Kevin Nash.
Yeah, and so I got out of that, and then so I'm working at this American legal thing. It was a prepaid legal thing that was a scam, and these guys are trading across the hallway in this giant building, and after the FBI arrests us, they see them take me out in chains with the shackles and the whole office. They take us all out, and these guys are like, Jesus Christ, it's that fucking guy again. it was
I would have
me.
left Atlanta, by the way.
It was me, So then I did.
What are you getting arrested for now? You're glossing over what's illegal in this operation. American legal, como se llama? What is it?
Okay, so the pretense was that you're 5 times more apt to end up in court than you are at hospital. Everybody has medical insurance. Nobody has legal insurance. It was a coast-to-coast legal thing where if you got pulled over in Jackson, Mississippi, you'd have your number, and you'd have legal service in moments. And so we put it on late night TV, and then we had we took it on the franchise circuit, and on the franchise circuit we sold it, and it's called Take One Advertising, which is no longer, I don't think, something. But if you remember
shocking.
back in the day, that every restaurant you went into had a American Express card thing where you could get an American Express card on top of the cigarette machine. And you would go in there, and you would take that, and you would fill it out, and you would send it in. And on the back of that, there was a code. And that code would be, say, if that was my stand, then that code would
credit you,
and American Express would charge $70, and I'd get 35, and American Express would get 35, and then every year that they would renew it, you got $20, so you got residual income. So basically, what they did was these very smart young gentlemen that I was working with put together a presentation that basically is the perfect thing that you can do to be successful as a criminal in America, is sit down with a husband and a wife and show them how they can sit on their fucking ass and get rich. And when you did the $500,000 installment, we threw in a Yugo. That way your kid could go out and fill the pamphlets. And so we were going to the franchise things. I was just muscle, basically. But I would always take all the cashier's checks, and I would FedEx them. Wherever we were, I'd FedEx them. We'd go to the next town, I'd FedEx them. Well, each time that you use the mail service, that's considered mail fraud.
Yes, sir.
And each one of those is a 7-year sentence.
And you've mailed out how much? 7 times what? What's the skid ratio on your prison sentence here?
When they sat me down the first time and questioned me, I did as close as I could to Sling Blade. I was just like, I'm just muscle.
Played the big mental defective who had no idea what was going on.
I'm here to get these guys laid. They pay me good, but not that good. I don't understand what you're saying. And spend a little time, and finally everybody rolls, because everybody always does. And I got out, and the guy that served me, we all got out on bail, and the guy that served me for my court date, his name was Peter Both. He came and got me and took me to the Cheetah. And I walked in, and I started work that next day at the Cheetah, which I would later meet Barry Windham, which would later get me into the business.
Oh.
But the kicker is that the guy that was behind this case was a guy named Doyle Alexander. and he was like the district, like the prosecutor in Atlanta at the time. And years go by, and I'm in the Salt Lake airport. I think I'm with Scott. I think I'm with Scott and Sean Michaels, and we're walking, and there's this guy with his wife and kids, and he's just smiling. I'm like, man, I know this guy, but I can't place him. And he's smiling, and he just says, he shook my hand. He goes, man, I knew I was right about you. He goes, I'm so proud of you, man. He goes, you probably don't remember me. And he reached into his, handed me, and I looked at it, said Doyle Alexander. And he was high up in the justice system. And funny side story to that is, like, when I met my wife, one of the first luncheons we have, I'm trying to play it down that I'm not, because when I came into town, like, there was almost like a bidding war, because there was these different drug factions that were moving coke that wanted me to work for them. And as muscle. And I've always carried a gun. So I remember one time something happened. I remember, like, I maybe flashed a gun at some people that were going to fuck this guy up that owed him money. That was a guy that I knew. I can't remember, but something like that. And so my wife had heard that I was trouble, but, like, I was kind to her, and I took her to see water lilies at Monet, so she figured maybe she'd give me a chance. And I mean,
gun-toting, sensitive art major.
About their third lunch, fucking guy sits down in a fucking Herculon fucking sports coat, fucking puts a card between us on the table, and says, "Just want to make sure we're keeping an eye on you." It was so and so, special agent, FBI. And my, Tamara looks down and sees this fucking card from the FBI. She goes, the guy gets up. She goes, "Why is the FBI watching you?" I said, "I don't know. I think it's probably some shit that happened in Detroit." Just like.
And this is all related to the scam you were running.
All that shit, yeah.
This is fantastic, but this is great, Kevin. I'm so proud of you, because I always talk about the time in wrestling where the characters, quote unquote, were so closely connected to the off-the-wall, edge-of-the-world lifestyle that these guys lived. If they didn't find wrestling to tether them to the earth, they would have gone right over a cliff. The locker rooms,
or in C block,
right? That's what I mean. Yeah, this was the only thing to give you guys legitimacy. So I like to hear the story of a man on the edge that finds solace in the wild and woolly world of professional wrestling. There's a little alliteration for you, Kevin. It's time for the tap out.
I thought for sure I was gonna. I mean, there was no way when I left Detroit. I mean, when I got smacked my coach and all that shit, I thought, like, fuck. Because I went back to Detroit and got into some shit there immediately. And I had to get out of there, so I got out and got to Knoxville, or to Atlanta.
It's going to be an interesting book someday. Not letting you get away with it.
But do it on a film, make it a film strip.
Well, they purchase the book and make it the film. The tap out.
No, the film strip. Remember when you were a kid, they had the film strip, and they put the album down, and they'd play it, and it'd ding when it was time to turn.
To click to the
next picture.
Yes, I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Kevin, the tap out. This. Do you remember the film Stand By Me? The boys. Out in the right. Our friend Corey Feldman who won it. by the way, I know you're interested in this aspect of it. Academy Award winner for Best Screenplay based on material from another medium. Golden Globe Award for Best.
If you're going to hit me with a Corey Feldman,
Golden Globe Award for Best Director,
singing, doing. This is the time. Me and Tyrus. This is one of our go-to jams. When
Kevin, what if I told you I found a clip of a duet of Stand By Me sung by two of the stars of the film, Corey Feldman and Jerry O'Connell, singing the theme song, which this is copyright strike city here because of the song, but are you ready? Now, Jerry O'Connell, who's matinee idol type now, tall and slender, but he was the little fat kid in the movie, and of course Corey Feldman in the film as well. Anyone who's watching can see the leather outfits and just take it from there. How about a little Stand By Me? Let's go. It's going to cost more than $4.99. Beautiful stills from the film is what we're seeing now. Black and white.
Little Eddie and the Cruisers feel here.
Yeah, if not before the dance moves that we're looking at, certainly now.
When the night has come,
Oof.
and the land is dark, and the moon
Stop.
is the only
Uncle.
Poor Jerry didn't even get to sing yet.
I'm sorry, man, but nowadays, if you don't have, if you come hard with zero auto-tune, I mean.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, this is obviously before auto-tune, maybe? I don't know.
No, this is, there's a deal that we send these back, Tyrus and I send these back and forth on Instagram to each other. And there's one where he's telling these guys to get their shit together and everything else.
Oh, when he wigs out on his band.
And he turns around and goes right into the microphone with his face.
I saw that one. That's very good.
I probably sent it to you.
You may have. All right, we did not get very far into the vocals.
Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I mean, the last thing I want to do is, come on. Sometimes he's got the curly Michael Jackson hair. Somebody straighten his hair for this one.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God.
I saw him at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, you said you exchanged hellos with him, right?
Yeah, he was at that Spooky Con gimmick in Orlando because he was in Lost Boys.
Okay. Yeah. Let me tell you, the something to get your game tight this season is courtesy of our friends at MANSCAPED.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We're talking a different game.
We're talking a different game. Cheers to the new year from our friends at MANSCAPED, because your resolutions shouldn't be the only things that are well kept. 2024 is the time for new heights, new opportunities, and a new look for your Times Square balls. Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, turn the page on confidence this year, whether you're looking to maintain a trim or go for that clean-shaven look. This trimmer has you covered, trusted by over 10 million men worldwide. That's unbelievable. Now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com. Use code KLIQ, K-L-I-Q, for 20% off and free shipping. Guys, if you haven't done this already, we tell you week in and week out, what are you waiting for? 10 million men, your two hosts here included, using Manscaped's products, okay? And that 20% off for using the code KLIQ, K-L-I-Q, is no joke. Happy New Year or Happy New Balls? What are we talking about? Kevin, what was your grooming highlight of 2023? What,
you got to
go. Do anything different?
Can we go back? Because I want to point something out to people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you see where it says Manscaped, the beard hedger?
Yeah, we're
And
looking
there-
at the graphic now for those listening.
Yeah, so
Yes.
there's a wheel on the back of that, okay? And that wheel coincides with a number. So say that you do the side of your beard with a number 4, and you want your kind of goatee area to be a little bit fuller, so you do that 6. You might taper it up by your temples at a 2. So now we can go ahead and take that down and throw us up. But anyway, it's so my buddy, I've been talking to him. I said, dude, you should buy one of these, because I showed him mine, and because he always says that, like when we go out someplace, we go out as his wife and my wife, and he's like, you always keep your shit trimmed. I'm like, I don't, because it's not right now. I trimmed it, here, and I did these spots here before I came, but I'll wait because I got to go to Albuquerque to do it right. But I told him, I said, dude, it's you can't screw up. I said the guide won't allow you to. I said it's not one of these old school things where you go and you ruin your beard. I said you can't do that.
And it's that technology. It's 2 skin-safe blade heads.
So he bought it, and it came.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out to dinner last Thursday. And he looks at me like this. He goes, "Huh?" I thought he was the detective on American Gigolo, and when he tells him, when Richard Gere goes, he says, when the detective says to him, how do you do it, man? How do you do it, Julian? How do you seduce all these women? He says, number one, here, you want some tips? You dress for shit. Then the next time the detective runs into him, he goes, huh? He's got a little bit better outfit on.
But your boy was showing off his trim.
Yeah, he was And I said, see, man? I said, way to rock it.
It's tremendous. 2 skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth, or whatever your heart desires, okay? For men who want the full grooming experience, look no further than Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0. I'm spending a lot of time on this, guys, but it's worth it. In this grooming kit, you get the trusted lawnmower, Manscaped's ear and nose hair trimmer, the essential aftercare products, the crop soother, ball aftershave lotion, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant. You didn't think you needed deodorant for your balls? Well, think again. The person, your significant other in your life will thank you for it. Guys, go get your 20% off and free shipping with the code KLIQ, K-L-I-Q, at manscaped.com, because nothing says Happy New Year like a deal that leaves your balls and your budget feeling refreshed. Embrace a new you, and definitely embrace a new trimmer, courtesy of Manscaped. Thank you, Manscaped. Always here for us. All right, time for Florida man or Jersey guy, plowing right along here. Kevin defending his record, like his Lions here. 2 real headlines, if you've never seen this. One from a Florida man, one an antic committed by a Jersey guy. So here are the 2 headlines in no particular order. First one. Man wearing underwear around neck to protect his face found prowling near $7,000 bonsai tree theft. A lot going on there. And the other headline, man assaults woman over surface lot parking spot at Disney Springs. Now, the first one, man wearing underwear around neck to protect his face, found prowling near a...
Disney Springs is Disney, so that's Florida.
It's located in Florida. The park is. Correct.
All right. So you're trying to trick me.
It's 2 activities by 2 individuals. One, the underwear around his neck to protect his face, trying to steal a $7,000 bonsai tree.
I know for a fact, because my wife bought me a bonsai tree, that there's a couple of bonsai tree places in Florida. So I'm going to say that bonsai tree is Florida. Everybody comes to Disney. The fact that it happens in the parking lot means That's just some asshole New Jersey fucker that wants to start shit in the
Wants a
parking lot.
parking spot. Yeah. You're absolutely correct. What would make a bonsai tree $7,000? Now, in front of my house, I don't have a lot of space, but I do have in the center a large configuration of bonsai trees. Now, I don't know if they're talking about the larger ones, maybe.
No, you gotta have the tiny ones.
Right.
Mine was
$7,000 for God's sakes.
Like,
yeah.
You know, it's like because they're old too. They're like 100 years old, and they're like 2.5 feet tall.
That much. I mean, it just seems outrageous. Anyway, so let's go to see who was responsible for this.
It's almost like considered artwork.
Lee County Sheriff's Office arrested 35-year-old Troy Stewart after allegedly being caught prowling near where 2 bonsai trees worth $7,000 were stolen days earlier. Was wearing his underwear around his face as a mask. How lucky the Lee County Sheriff's officers were to encounter him in Cape Coral, I guess. And then, I guess the hothead in Jersey wanted that damn spot. Listen, I've been many times to Disney Springs, and those spots are hard to come by. So a man was arrested after he fought with another driver for a parking space at Disney Springs and hit her multiple times, according to public documents. Anthony Natali, 52-year-old from Brick, New Jersey. Brick-tucky, I like to call it down there, Central Jersey. So well done, Kevin. Well, he should have just chilled out, Anthony Natali. Called our friends over at Get Blitzed and relaxed. Had himself a cocktail after parking, by the way. You don't want to do that while driving. This high spot of the show brought to you by our friends Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney and their Get Blitzed Lit Aid. That's right, nano-infused Delta-9 THC sipping syrup.
I'm starting to fall in love with the tall, dark-headed girl.
On the bottle that I'm looking at there, or in the ad?
In the ad. I'll
Okay.
show you when she comes up.
All right, I'm gonna have to look. That guy looks like Steve Gorillo, by the way. Let's see. We're looking at the suggestion to use a teaspoon. That's what we're talking about. A teaspoon in your favorite beverage, tea, white soda. Kevin swears by the Diet Sprite, the Zero Sprite.
It's our girls. Let me see.
It's nano-infused. What the hell does that mean? I'm going to tell you what that means. It means first of all, it means it is goes right into the bloodstream, bypasses the breakdown in the liver, so it works like alcohol in a way. And it's the real deal. THC Delta-9, the THC you get from marijuana. If you're in Maryland, you can visit the Stay Lit Smoke Shop. But for the rest of us, it's legal to ship right from the Get Blitzed website to their factories to all 50 states without a med card as long as you're over 21. And right now you can save 15% by entering the code KLIQ, K-L-I-Q.
There she is.
Go ahead, go back. Get a still frame.
There she was.
Right there. Oh, nothing wrong with that.
No.
And I think all hair types are represented. It's like the goddamn Witches of Eastwick here. We get a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead. What more do you want?
The brunette looks tall, attractive.
Does that remind you of
So a buddy of mine, purchases, and I was over his house, oh God, maybe a month ago, and there's a Solo cup. The ice is melted, and there's like this much. Like he didn't even make it through.
Oh,
right. And I'm like, how long has this been sitting there? He goes, all I got to do is flash charge it with a couple of cubes. And I was like,
so he just keeps it going, same cup?
Yeah. It's just like
flash charger
with a couple of cubes. I'm like, all right.
Guys, see what we're talking about. Go see what the big deal is. Go to get-blitzed.com. That's get-blitzed.com. Try the Delta-9 THC Sip and Syrup Lit Aid from the Get Blitzed website. Don't forget to use the promo code KLIQ at checkout. Save that 15%. And show us your receipt online. We'll share it with everyone. People have been doing that. Thank you, Get Blitzed.
I use a coffee mug with me and Scott on it.
Oh, with a little, so your buddy can share in the event.
So when I get blitzed, I get blitzed with my my hombre, my
Get blitzed with your homies.
somebody that probably been blitzed with more than anybody else on this planet.
He did his share of blitzing
Yeah,
too.
might as
From
well
the secondary.
keep my shit going.
Kev, I saw an article. We were talking about the weather earlier at the top of the show, and something we don't consider. I missed the snow in my travels this weekend, but when you are a professional wrestler, and travel is basically what you're being paid to do. Your matches last about 10 minutes, but your travel is your entire life.
Money in the miles.
Yeah. And especially going back to, the 90s and before, when you guys would get nailed with snow or even just bullshit like fog and you get a flight that's delayed 6 hours. I mean, what happened this week? The workers this week
this is the difference between our era and this era.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was stuck at airports.
Right.
Because they're flying, they're hubbing, like they're at the TV, making the TV and then going.
Mm-hmm.
To whereas we would be, like we might have landed in Newark 2 weeks ago, and we're
you're driving to six cities.
We're 250 a night away from there. So I remember one time we were in Montreal, and I want to think we had TV coming up, and I want to think it was in Burlington, Vermont. And we got the call, like, at the hotel because everybody was at this journey and, like, get in your cars and get, like, Montreal is going to get crushed and get there. So I was driving a Lumina, white Lumina with burgundy fabric material, sweet ride. Triple H, Paul was my co-pilot. Paul is sick as fuck. We stop and get like everything that you can get. Like he's got, we're buying Sudafed, Dayquil, NyQuil. I mean, he's drinking this shit by, just wrestling dosage because he's sicker than hell. And he knows he's going to work on TV. So we're driving. And it's like, I mean, snowing sideways. And there's not a car on the road. Nor should there be, because only an idiot would be on the road. And up ahead, I see in the right-hand lane, I see flashing lights and everything. It's up, like it's going over a hill, and so it takes us a while. And as we crest the hill, I see it's a plow, and so now, like, if I'm driving and this is my vision, I see the plow go across, and of course it's the opposite way, but it exits to the middle of the road. So I'm like, oh fuck, man, because we were kind of following this plow, and it was like we were making some time. So I'm probably going, I mean, nothing crazy, but not bitching it either. I'm probably going 50. Well, this fucking snowplow, what it does is, as it decides to go across and go up the other way, it doesn't pick up its snowplow. It leaves like a 6-foot wall of snow across the middle of the highway.
Because it cut
across
horizontally.
And I mean, it's whiteout conditions, and it's a white road. And by the time we realize that there's actually topography in front of us, I mean, it's like we might as well have hit a cement. I mean, it was just like wham. So we hit this snow bank, and you hear the car kind of go, but we get through it, and I kind of slide a little bit, and Paul was kind of out. He kind of got up and he goes, "We're all right?" I said, "Yeah, we're all right." So we're driving. We're about another 45 minutes into this drive. It's not that far from Montreal to Burlington. And all of a sudden, like I realized that the headlights are starting to fade. And then it was like the lights on the inside of the car are starting to fade. And the heat's not as good. I'm like, we got something going on. So we get into Vermont, and we're driving, and I said we got to get off the road. And I look, and there's the sign that says like motel hotel. It's like like the some Hansel and Gretel motel, and so I get off and get to the top of this ramp, and as I'm going down, the motel is dead in front of us, and as I go and I hit the peak of this ridge, fucking the lights and the car cuts off. So I just take my foot off the brake.
Can the momentum get you in the lot?
And pray, and I mean, it's like, we slide in, and we're probably, I don't know, 4 feet shy of actually pulling into a parking spot in front of this motel. So I go in. I said, "Let me go inside." So I'm ringing the bell outside. Finally, that's the typical, 1995 on the road, and the person gets up and gives you that look like, the fuck you doing? What do you think I'm doing? Looking for. The guy says, "I got one room. It's got a king size bed." I'm like, "Well, we'll take it." And so I go out. And I said, "We got a king size bed, man." I said, so he says, I said, "I'll sleep on the top. We'll just double heel it." So I kind of help, because he's feeling like shit. I kind of help him in the room, and I get the bags and I take him in the thing, and put the heat on, and he falls asleep, and I fall asleep. Get up the next morning with a wake up call, and I call Avis, and Avis basically just says it'll be like 35 to 45 minutes. They're flatbedding us a new car. Well, while we were in Montreal, me and Double J went out to a strip joint, and somebody while we were coming back to the hotel, somebody fucking sideswiped the whole side of the car. So,
The Lumina.
So the Lumina's fucking taking some damage, and we have no loss damage waiver on it. So the guy pulls up. He's a young guy. I just go straight into cutting a promo on him. This motherfucking car, and the guy opens it, but he knows. He flatbeds it up first, and then he opens the hood when he gets up there, and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "when you guys hit that snowbank, it snapped the alternator off." So just like, snap the alternator. And I don't know how I guess those other, or maybe it wasn't all the way snapping anyway. It was like we should have died. We should have been on the side of the road and died. And we got a brand new car. Paul kind of kicked out of his fever a little bit. We got into it, went and got some breakfast, decided we'd eat waffles, went to TV, and was just like, "Oh, see, that wasn't so bad." Another time we're in Columbus. They have
Let me ask you, before you move to that, let me stay on this other story. how many guys make it to TV? Like, do you have half a roster there? Or
at least.
yeah.
At least, because a lot of guys everybody loves Montreal because they had the best strip joints. So everybody stayed in Montreal and would, instead of doing the old make the night the town the night before.
Right.
Fuck that. If we get 2 nights in Montreal, we're gonna go to Pure Platinum. So, we're in Columbus, and they just opened because they used to have old St. John Arena that was on the campus, and they opened. I think it was the National Car Center or whatever it was. So I've got a Buick Park Avenue, green leather suite. So driving with me is Ross Foreman from the WCW magazine, and we get out, and there's probably 4 or 5 good inches on top of our car. And I'm like, fuck this, man. I said, so I was talking to some different people. I said, worst case scenario, we'll charter some turboprops tomorrow, and we'll get to Evansville to make TV. And I'm like, I ain't getting on no fucking turboprop. I said, so I looked at it, and this is, of course, prior to cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing the math, and I'm like, it's either 400 or 600 miles, somewhere in that radius.
Were planes that accessible where you could get on the phone and just get a?
I think that, it was WCW, and they had to make TV. We had Thunder.
Right.
So I guess they would have done whatever they had to do. I said, fuck it, I'm going to drive. So I cleaned the car off the best I could. We stopped at White Castle. I got 12 double cheeseburgers.
Oh, I love them.
I think Ross had 4. We got some fries. And then I went and bought a case of beer and put it in I had a cooler that I would pack in my bag. It was fabric, and you could fold it. And then when you got to the airport for the first town, you'd pull that bitch out, and then on the way home, you put your dirty clothes in it, and it was perfect.
Right.
So I get the cooler, put the beers down, put the ice on top. I'm ready to go. So we take off, and we get out on whatever the road is. We go from Columbus to Evansville. And if you've traveled enough, especially up in the north, like most of the roads have a ridge, to them.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a natural ridge.
Oh, left to
And
right, you mean?
you're like a mound. So if you go
Yeah.
if you go down the center line, the wind pretty much keeps the snow off of that center mound.
Right.
So it's 70 miles an hour. I set the cruise on 60. I'm eating cheeseburgers and drinking beer. And we're like 3 hours in, 3.5 hours in. And I'm like, man, I gotta piss. I said, how are we on beer? He says, that one's your 15th. So I'm like, all right.
In what amount of time?
Like 3.5 hours. So I'm not getting drunk. I'm just drinking.
But does it even taste good after 6? Jesus. Okay.
Fuck yeah, ice cold. Ice cold beer's ice cold beer. So we decide we see this place off to the side. I think it's a mobile. And we get off. And I've noticed, like, way in the back, like, there's been this car, following us. But then we'd lose it, and then we'd kind of catch up a little bit, but I didn't pay any attention to it. So we get off the exit. Now it's pretty shady because none of this shit's plowed, so I'm going slow. And I get to the side of this gas station, and it's like an area where you would park trucks, but there's no trucks there. So I'd say, I wonder like how slick it is. So I take off and I'm going like 30 and I just slam on the brakes and the car slides quite a ways. I'm like, fuck. Like, like that's at 30. We're going 60 like this way. By the time I turn to Ross and say that, the blue lights come on. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And so the guy, I'm sitting there, and this guy walks up. I put the window down. He goes, what the fuck are you doing? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, what the fuck are you doing? I said, I was checking the skid ratio. He goes, what do you mean the skid ratio? I said, yeah. I said, I figured 30 miles an hour. I'd figure out how much, double that, because I was going 60. He goes, oh, no, you're going 65 on the road up there. He goes, that car that's been following you for the last 2 hours, that's me. He goes, I couldn't catch you. I'm like, I'm like, and he says, how many beers have you had? I said, I had a couple beers at Applebee's before we left Columbus. He said, the answer is 1 or 2. You've just won yourself a shot at the breathalyzer. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, fuck. Now I know I'm drinking 15 or 16 beers. Only thing I've had is White Castle burgers and fries. And I wrestled. I wrestled before I fucking, on Nitro. So I'm thinking, oh, fuck, I'm going to get a DUI. This is going to fucking suck. So guy makes me get out of the car. Once I get out of the car, now I'm in the cold, and it's just like fucking, I'm free. It's freezing out. So he gives me the breathalyzer, and he tells me to blow into it, and he goes, no, blow into it. I said, fuck what I got to lose. So I blow into it, and he fucking looks at me and goes, 0.02. You're a quarter of the way there. And I said, whoa. I said, okay. I said, well, Ross, I said, and Ross didn't drink. I said, Ross, you're going to have to take the wheel, man. I said, I didn't realize that those 2 beers that were still in me.
Applebee's beer.
Yeah. So the guy says, all right. He goes, you can't ride down the middle of the road. I said, all right, we won't. I said, but we've got to get to Evansville for TV. So he leaves. I go inside and piss, and I wait. And the fucking guy's sitting out there. I'm thinking, I'm refilling my fucking, I'm getting another fucking 12-pack.
Oh.
Like, fuck this motherfucker, man. Like, I figure out how much I've got like 212 miles to go, and I'm going to want some when I get there to sit in the room and watch.
Well, you were only 0.02. Your skid ratio was safe, and your beer to intoxication ratio
exactly.
Was also,
so the guy, so the guy, finally the cop pulls away, and I said, he's gonna. Like, I had a big red hoodie on. I said, he's gonna fucking for sure. He'll see that, while it's on. I said, we'll go ahead and let Ross drive until we'll switch. And then lo and behold, we went. He was there. We passed him. I just wish I'd have thrown it empty at him, but we passed him. We went up for Ross. Probably drove 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, like Uncle with you driving fucking 40 miles an hour. Let me take the wheel. But
it's miraculous when you guys were doing your loops throughout the Northeast, or even just like the Midwest, Minnesota and shit, and Michigan. It's amazing more shows weren't canceled. Or, I mean, you had substitutions on the card and stuff, but there must have been some that, I mean, how do you do TV with half your roster? You got all these angles written, right? You've been writing 2 and 3 weeks out because you're advancing towards a pay-per-view or something. You get a couple of key people don't make it to the
There
building.
was no
what do you
such-
do?
There's no such thing as not making it. That's on you. That's why that I think it was Harrisburg when we were late because we fucking stopped and like had Cracker Barrel or something, and Paul said, "What we're gonna fucking get so much heat." And I said, "Just watch me, man. Just follow my lead." I said, "Walk behind me and shake your head like." What was I supposed to do? And I walked in and I just said, "Who the fuck booked this motherfucker?" And I just went off and they just went like, "Well, we were going to say you're fucking fine, but nobody's fucking got the balls to." So.
What was your ruse? You were complaining who booked because you got lost?
No, it was that fucking Pennsylvania Turnpike, man. The fucking speed limit's like 55 and it was, oh my God, there was a fucking 1.5 feet of snow and it was like
2 tractor trailers overturned.
Yeah, but I mean, we just stopped and fucking
ate.
Yeah, like 2 gentlemen fucking ate instead of having instead of having an IcoPro bar, stopped and fucking had little Uncle Herschel's fucking breakfast with the extra fucking teriyaki chicken. Like a couple cups of coffee, fuck. Like
the bologna and white bread wasn't good enough for you
exactly.
at catering, huh?
Like I said,
Mr. Big Shot.
Remember one time we were trying to catch a plane in fucking Frankfurt. Like there was a McDonald's in the Frankfurt airport. And, we all looked at each other and said, "Think we got time to grab a burger?" Macho said, "Fuck it, there's always another plane." And we were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, right, Mach? Let's fucking get some burgers." Like, who the fuck's... We were so just beat down.
Yeah. When you would 90s travel, you weren't like crisscrossing the country like in the 80s with the A, B, and C shows. Like you could be in San Diego one night, New York the next night, Montreal the next night. So you would fly, let's say, into like Newark, right?
Newark.
You'd land. We
do Newark.
You do Meadowlands.
Occasionally we would do that. There'd be that whole Meadowlands, Uniondale,
Boston,
then Garden.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes we do that. Garden was always a Saturday night show. Uniondale we do. Then but we'd only usually do 2 of those. And the one that wasn't one of the like normal 3 was the Meadowlands, because you would do
that's a lot in one area. It's
you do
New
the
York
Garden,
City and the Meadowlands,
then you do go do Boston, go do
you could
Portland,
do Baltimore,
Portland, Maine.
Oh, you go up as far as Maine just from the New Jersey flight? You drive your way up.
I've been from New Jersey as far west as Yuma
on just the Newark flight. Wow.
Yeah, because think about it. If you land in Newark and you do Newark,
if you're going west, you're talking about, right?
If you go west,
Philly,
so you go Philly,
Allentown,
then Baltimore, then work your way across Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Cleveland, Cleveland to Detroit, and these are like Detroit to St. Louis is $2.99, or Chicago. Detroit to Chicago is $2.99. Chicago to St. Louis is $2.98. I mean, it's just like, and you would start, and now you're at the Mississippi. You're on your way over.
Wow.
It's just,
that's remarkable.
Yeah.
And it's, again, the thing that's miraculous to me. This is the time before cell phones too, right? So you're not booking hotels on the fly in the car while you're driving. You're pulling into a town.
You're pulling in. You start. I mean, it's depending on it, the size of the town. If it's Baltimore, you better start looking for a hotel 20 miles out of town.
Right, when you're headed down, start
Yeah.
looking before you get
Start
in.
looking.
Right.
And then it's just, it's so much easier when if you got guys and you go to a red roof, because you can back right up, get 2 rooms adjoining, throw your shit in, you're set.
How are you washing your stuff? Are you doing it in the sink?
Sink with Woolite,
Right.
shampoo,
You packing it wet, or would it dry overnight?
dry it over. You take a towel, put it in the towel, and then squeeze it, and then hang it up over by the wall unit heater.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much personal clothing are you taking? You got your gigantic boots.
See, what we did was we finally came up with a system where we would bring 5 days of work clothes, 5 days of clothes, and you got to realize a pair of black jeans is 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
You teach a guy right off the bat. These black jeans are better than blue jeans. The only thing is, fucking don't eat mustard. You eat mustard and you get on the black jeans, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And everybody wore those high techs, tucked in.
Mm-hmm.
Your pants tucked into your high techs. You had your fanny pack, and then you had your fucking your t-shirt and some kind of leather coat and a baseball cap, and off you went.
You could reuse your washing your wrestling gear, so you're reusing that.
Well, we would then we went on a train. We were training 4 days in a row and taking a day off. So the day off, we'd go to the laundromat, and then everybody just wash your shit, fold your shit. You have brand new gear, and it just made life. Before you'd have 2 CCM hockey bags full of fucking gear.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing had wheels back then. You'd always see like Sheik would always, he'd be in the line checking his bags. Do the shrugs. He'd have his bags in his hands.
Oh, doing
the shrugs.
Turn everything into a workout.
Oh, everything.
Did lines of blow standing on his head.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was.
And then if you're fortunate enough, quote unquote, to have a belt,
you get to drag that bitch with
to haul around too.
And then everybody wants to look at that. Thank God nobody had cell phones, because nobody, you didn't have a cell phone, so nobody would take a picture with you with the belt through the TSA. So,
what about if you're in one of these snowstorms or just terrible conditions and you're going to be late with no cell phones? You have to pull over and call who? Call the main office, who then gets in touch with whoever the road agent is. Like, how do you reach the building to say we're fucked?
Fink was always great. Fink was like you always knew that Fink would get the message to whoever need be.
Got it. Right.
If he had to sit in the office till 11 o'clock at night and get it there, but it was just, we were, and you have to realize too, in the same token, as bad as the weather was, if you lived in the Northeast in those times, it's like at 4 o'clock in the morning, major roads are fucking salted.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't go, you didn't go up anywhere in the Northeast, and we spent 2/3 of our time in the Northeast. You didn't go into the Northeast and shit not be, you could just, once you got off in Niagara Falls and had to find a hotel, yeah, it might be right. The roads might be rough, or Buffalo or something like that. But
what about how did you follow Like the Final Four when you were on the road like that.
There is none.
Could you see any of the tournament? or-
This weekend, because you book shit. I'm at a Comic-Con in Albuquerque. When the Lions kick off, I'll be sitting at a table.
Really? And it was like that tenfold when you were doing the road.
Oh,
You couldn't follow your team. You couldn't see.
you
anything.
couldn't fit it. So you would get up the next morning. No, we always had Sports Center.
Oh, when you
Yeah,
get back to the hotel,
So
you
we
could
got
catch
to the
the
hotel
highlights.
that night. You always had Sports Center, and Sports Center was like, for a sports junkie like me, was like, I mean, it was uncut because I didn't know anything.
Right.
And you talking about fucking, if it was summertime, fucking I watched every baseball clip. I mean, it was like, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like you can't follow any. It's literally like you couldn't watch the Grammys. I know you're excited about award
Like,
shows.
to me,
and,
like
the
the
Emmys you would miss.
the first 4 days of the basketball tournament, I don't leave my house.
I know.
I mean, that's my fucking jam right there.
Oh, but isn't it great when it kicks off and you
Oh.
get all fucking night? You get 4 channels you could have going.
Oh,
All the TBS channels.
that's just
You no-selling bastard with my awards joke. All right, we're back with Ask Nash. That's hashtag Ask Nash if you want to get your question read on the socials, or just get in with that Kliq This TV membership and come in the house here like a lot of our friends are doing. Pseudonym said, "Hey, Kevin, as a Detroit boy, what's your opinion on Bobby Probert? I believe Flair used to tell stories about him whenever he was around the boys. Seemed like he could have made the transition."
Bobby was a badass.
Bob Probert.
Bob
Don't make
used to
him
come
like
in.
that anymore.
No, he used to come into BT's, into a strip club I worked at.
Uh-huh.
A really good guy.
Did you see him when you were a worker at all? It seemed like he was around the business a little, just
A little
as
bit.
fan.
I was more like Darren McCarthy I was around Darren more.
Yeah. Do you think he could have worked in the ring? Well, no. You know what? He probably wouldn't have been able to pull the punches.
Yeah, I know he was. But man, those guys, the guys that are the enforcers in hockey they're a different breed of guys anyway. So
Yeah. Kidding. Chris Hibbler, longtime Kliq This fan, lost my dad to suicide around the same time you lost your son, and we all lost Mr. Hall. I'm now homebound, disabled. Kev, how does it feel that some people get their weekly inspiration every Monday by hearing Sophia? That's Tristan's band song.
I mean I can't express how much it makes my heart feel, but I really when it doesn't get played all the way through and people make comments like because they want that, they want their mix of Sophia. It's just like,
Yeah.
where's my Sophia, man? So it's my wife still, because that was one of his go-tos. He would play around the house, so she can't. I was downstairs the other night watching YouTube. I've just gotten to where now I can sit and watch him older.
Yeah.
In the garage. And so,
WCW NWO Collection. Have you watched the documentary called Searching for the Sugar Man about the Detroit musician
oh yeah,
Rodriguez?
ended up being a huge star in South Africa.
Okay. I'll have to look for that. What streamer is it on?
If you guys haven't seen it, that's an excellent documentary.
Okay. I'll grab it. It's on Netflix.
It's great.
All right. What do we have in the live audience? What do we have here? Britt. Hey, Uncle Kevin, Sean, my birthday is Monday, but my trip might be canceled because of the storm. Could you show the girls some love? Happy birthday in
Where-
advance.
Where are you going?
Where you going, Britt? All right, let us know. Hit us back on the Ryan from the gym. What's the difference between Dak Prescott and Linda Lovelace?
Linda doesn't choke on the big one.
There you go, Lynn. I guess that's the answer. Oh my God.
Montego Bay.
Did we get oh,
She's
Montego
in
Bay.
Montego Bay.
All right, fantastic.
Be careful. Be careful when the sun goes down. If you're not at an all inclusive, Jamaica can get rough.
Yeah, don't go off the beaten
Remember the
path
first
there.
I was in the 80s. I was in Freeport. I was like, whoa.
All right. Anyone else from the audience? What can we get here?
No, I'm sorry. I was in Kingston.
Kingston.
We left Freeport and went to Kingston.
Capital, right?
Capital of the... It made Detroit look like fucking Palm Springs.
Eddie P. Any chance of making another timeline with Nash? Well, you never say never. We're not doing any timelines, but they were certainly a great series. Could happen. Who knows? Who else from the live? Ryan, did Rocket help you get a refund for that Chinese food at the MGM? No, they straightened it out, but it was just annoying to have to wait for all those credits. For God's sakes. Rocky Monroe, what movie franchise do you think done better with the prequel? I personally liked Back to the Future 2 much more than the first. Same with Home Alone. Oh, you mean a sequel? So okay, so which movie was a better sequel?
I would say Terminator 2. I would say for sure Aliens. Aliens was better than the first one.
Godfather 2 was very good. I don't think it was better than 1, but I put it close to the first one. God, there aren't many. That's one I'll have to come back to. I don't know if I can give you that vote on Home Alone. I don't remember seeing the second. I don't remember. I remember the first, Joe Pesci. I don't remember the second. Second one, they were in New York. I do remember it at the Plaza. Back to the Future 2, I wasn't a fan of. Thomas Logan. If Jonathan Hensleigh's Punisher 2 hadn't been 86th in 07 and Lionsgate had reached out to you to come back as the Russian, would you have been game, especially if they stayed true to the comics with how the Russian returned?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was 86 because Thomas didn't take Thomas wasn't going to make it.
Oh, okay.
Thomas had no desire to make it.
All right, from the audience, who can wrap us up here? Who can wrap us up? From the live audience, you can be a part of that live audience at KliqThisTV.com. Join Britt and Too Hard and Fierce. Kevin, any interest in voice acting?
I would absolutely.
It's just a day in the studio. No makeup, no
I was with Vox forever, and I did a couple of things. I did a Big Ten football thing and a couple other radio spots, but, you know.
Well, I want to remind everyone that Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat. And here's some awards. And the winner for Best Creators of a Podcast Series are Tristan Nash, Kevin Nash, Doyle Alexander, and Sean Oliver. The winners for Best Producer of a Podcast Series, Steve Kaufman. Winner for Best Graphics and Social Media Management of a Podcast Series, Dominic D'Angelo. Winner for Best Title Sequence and Audio Editing of a Podcast Series is Wesley Burleson. And the winner for Best Theme Song Composer for a Podcast Series, Dale Oliver. Winner for Best Technical Research of a Podcast Series, Tristan Nash. Copyright 2024, Butch and Sundance Media. Kev, do you want to do another?
Why, of course.
Got to get Doyle Alexander on next week. See what he's up to.
What is it? He's probably retired by now.
Let us free to fade away into eternity. Circulate, you've come to love me, but now I'm frozen in dead flesh. Oh, Sophie, knew all along it was a trick, but the customer service never answers the thing. Let us free to breathe in air we're supposed to breathe. Through twists and turns, you've come to love me. Now I'm cold, I'm frozen. Baby, we're broken, and the customer service never answers a thing. Yeah, the customer service never answers a